Hello and welcome back to another certified OG shifting video. My MK4 Supra has been a cornerstone of my channel forever. I truly love this car, but unfortunately this car was always giving me a headache.
I think I fixed it, at least I hope so.
My car was away in a workshop for over 1.5 years. He installed new coolers and everything seemed to be great until he took the car for a final little test drive. The unthinkable happened. It's a story of broken friendships, newly found friends, and it also shows you what's wrong with many workshops here in Europe. And we've been cooking up something pretty cool that you've probably never seen before. This truly is a game changer and I think you guys are gonna appreciate it. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Yeah, we have a pretty long journey ahead of us to finally retrieve my Supra and bring it back where it belongs, here into the mountains. It's gonna be quite an adventure to get the car back, but I'm honestly so excited. We already have made some space in the showroom. It's gonna sit nice and cozy next to Mani's Golf and my E34, so somewhere in here should be my Supra at the end. First of all, we have to get Eddie onto the trailer because Eddie is also getting some new stuff. Mainly it's getting wrapped. By the way, look at these beautiful wheels. Shout out again to Mantek, to Mani, for making these wheels. So the plan is as following: Eddie, trailer, drive to Munich, get my R34, drop off Eddie, drive with the R34 to MPS because the R34 needs some stuff from MPS as well. And then tomorrow arrive at MPS, look at the Supra and take the Supra with us home. Start the Eddie. Ja.
Also ich glaube, es wird schon passen.
Of course, Eddie is not starting.
Ah, wobei.
We are at Glanzwit, Freile, R34 GTR. It's coming to MPS to fix some small issues. Eddie is already downstairs waiting for the wrap. Nochmal Pfeffer. So wie alle deine Autos, weiß? Perfekt. Ja, und jetzt laden wir den F34 auf und fahren dann nur 10 Stunden bis nach Dortmund. We're driving around this car since Florida with this stupid switch. That's also like one of the reasons why we want to bring this car to MPS, because I'm sick of all of this stuff not working.
Hey, perfekt, oder?
Anspringend, oder?
Unglaublich. Aber aufleuchtend da ist.
So geil. Jetzt ist nicht. Jetzt kommt. Ja, bist du noch? Gut. Passt. Let's go. Wonderful good morning. We are pretty close to where we need to be. We just slept a solid 7 hours, I think. And it's actually raining today, which is the best weather to pick up any 1000 horsepower rear-wheel drive car. It's gonna be amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, we still have a long way to go to MPS. So let's just sit into the car. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly the reason why my Supra has been gone for 1.5 years. And this is going to be a very interesting story because it is a story of misfortune, a story of
Pain?
Story of destroyed friendships.
Yeah.
Newly found friends, and it also shows you what's wrong with many workshops here in Europe. So I don't even know where to begin. But let's rewind all the way back to when I bought the car. I bought the car in 2021. The car had around 800 horsepower. Unfortunately, that did not really last long and the car soon blew up. So I sent the car back to a workshop in Austria to get everything fixed. A few months passed by and I got my car back and it was in a better shape than ever. The car made around 1000 horsepower and everything seemed to be good. I put around 2000 kilometers on the engine. I drove it in Finland, drove it a little bit on the street. The last time I drove my Supra was for the Alpen Rally for the old-time event here in Austria. And you saw it, the car had major overheating problems. I sent the car to a workshop in Germany because the workshop in Austria that previously did all the work on my Supra already had my Evo for around 5 months without any bolts touched, so I thought better to just put the car somewhere else since they seemed to be pretty busy and I didn't want to bother them. He installed new coolers and everything seemed to be great until he took the car for a final little test drive before giving it back to me. On that test run, the unthinkable happened and the engine blew up. Only around 2000 kilometers on the clock, the engine was literally totaled. So I decided it was probably best to send the car back to the guy in Austria who initially built everything for me. The car arrived there, and 2 days later I got a call from him telling me I can basically pack all my stuff and he's done working with me. He was really mad at me and also told me to go pick up my Evo because it bothered him that I didn't bring him the car initially. Another reason why he was mad at me is because the shop in Germany was talking shit about him in some WhatsApp groups and was sending pictures of the engines and basically saying who builds an engine like that, which is not really my fault. I mean, I can't really say anything about that, but I'm a bit disappointed, but I'm not really mad at anybody. I just want to get my car back to running. And in the end, my car arrived at MPS here in Germany 1 year ago. Everything was dismantled, there were parts missing, and I was very sad about the whole sale of the car. Honestly, it was a total nightmare. But Philip at MPS promised me to bring it back better than ever. And that's why we're here. And we have something that probably nobody has ever done before. Yep, the time has finally come. After 1.5 years, I am finally standing in front of my Supra. And I haven't seen this car for like, I think 1.5 years properly. And I mean, you heard it in the video, I told you the full story. So you can kind of feel probably why I am this way right now, because I am actually really nervous. This is the guy responsible for making my Supra the way it is. And let me tell you, this is probably something you have never seen this before. I don't know how we got the idea to do this, but I think probably one of the most genius ideas we've had so far. So here's the Looks-wise, the car did not change much. Obviously, we have a different engine now because the old one had huge
Holes.
Before we go to the whole game-changing part, the engine itself, like I said, it is still pretty much the same engine, but it was still a pain in the ass to do because whoever worked previously on the car basically decided to just cut some of the wires to remove the engine.
Yes, yeah, I cut the wires, and the problem was they changed the whole harness. Yeah, we have to wire in new sensors and
Little bit of extra work.
Yes.
When this car arrived here, it was already missing the engine because we wanted to do it at a different workshop at first.
Yeah.
So the car was missing the engine. The car had most of the wires cut. Nothing of the parts that are on the engine right now were obviously with the car. So we needed basically everything of this new again because I don't know where my old stuff is. I really don't know.
you brought the car with 3 boxes of parts and that's it. I want to drive again.
Aber ich tue eigentlich nichts dafür, weil ich habe eigentlich damit nichts zu tun gehabt. And also the car had mold growing on it, so they needed to deep clean the car a little bit. But yeah, now it is back and fresh again. So far to the engine. The engine is still supposed to make pretty much the same power as before, which is amazing because it's very cold outside. So the first test drive is going to be very good, I think. And now to the whole game-changing part, and the part that was even more a pain in the ass than doing all of the wiring new. So the game-changing part is not this laptop. The game-changing part is this shift knob here. As you can probably tell, this shift knob is not supposed to be in a Supra. This is a BMW M shift knob out of an M3 F80 or whatever. And that is because we had the genius idea to put an 8 HP transmission into my Supra, which is BMW's automatic transmission. And the good thing about these transmissions is that they are very cheap, very robust, and actually also very reliable, I think.
Yeah.
And if you have the right ECU, which we did not have, it's also very easy to program. But there's different versions of this gearbox. This one is supposed to hold
900 Newton meters.
900 Newton meters, but with little adjustments, it can also hold like 1,200 Newton meters, which is perfect. I hated shifting with my left hand, and this is a cheap and good alternative to a sequential transmission because sequential transmission alone is like 20,000 euros, maybe even more.
Yeah.
Like on the R34, and this is like the transmission itself is 1,500 euros. So. And you can get it everywhere. So basically I now have an automatic Supra, but an automatic Supra that works. And I think it's gonna be pretty cool to drive. And the best thing, I have a working clutch pedal. So I can still push the clutch pedal. It also feels like a clutch. And it basically electronically gives a signal to the transmission, which means I can clutch kick my car. I can do burnouts and drift and do everything. And also we have shift pedals on my steering wheel.
You can do Schäfchen things then.
Yeah,
Schäfchen things.
So I now have an older version of my G8 with more horsepower, and it sounds better, and it looks arguably a bit better than my G8.
Yeah.
Wie toll ist to move on?
You can buy a swap plate where you can fix the transmission to the 2JZ engine, but you have to build the mounts and everything.
So
Firing
it's
harness.
lots of custom work,
Yes.
Yeah.
which was very cool.
Drive shaft, everything is custom made. But
Oh,
works.
and also about the drive shaft.
I killed one drive shaft yesterday.
He did it. Burnout in second gear and yeah, the drive shaft broke. But they fixed it again.
It's not-
Yeah.
So the only thing, we're not going to do any burnouts today because I don't want to break it again.
Yes.
And we're looking for a custom built one that can hold a little bit more clutch kicking, because this transmission is really, really hard on you know, all the drivetrain stuff. Because especially when it shifts and everything, it's just so quick and you have so much torque in an instant that it just makes fusilli noodles.
Fossili Noodles.
Das ist B58, oder?
Ja. B58 mit G42 1200.
Mit TÜV.
Irgendwann muss man auch mal machen ohne TÜV, oder?
Natürlich,
Einfach so
Spaß.
aufdrehen. All in. Kolben, Pleuel, Kopf, alles machen.
Geil.
Auf Wastegate-Druck mit 0,9 Bar schon gefahren.
Ja.
Macht irgendwie knapp 600 PS oder so. Kannst du eigentlich überall mit hinfahren. Wirklich.
Geil.
Kannst du mit rumfahren.
Aber ich glaube, es gibt viel wichtigere Sachen zum Anschauen, oder?
Heute?
Ja?
Ja, klar.
Ich bin so nervös, wenn der da
Ja,
einschlafen
ich
kann.
auch. Ich war auch nervös. So, du hörst es. Ja, die gucken wegen der Licht.
Super, läuft schon.
Schnell.
Alter, die Sau schaut so geil aus.
Alter, ich hab's so vermisst.
Yeah, it is finally time to see what has been brewing with this car for like 1.5 years. I mean, it sounds pretty much like always. It didn't really change much. In theory, the car should have pretty much the same power as it did before, which was around 1000 horsepower. The only thing that changed is that my car is now way better to drive because we have a dual clutch 7-speed transmission in my car, which I think is going to be pretty interesting to see how it performs. And I also think you guys are gonna fucking love it because there's flames literally coming out of every single exit of this car. You're gonna see it in a second. And I also have to say, I absolutely love the side profile of this car. This is one of the best looking cars I think that has ever been produced. And it looks absolutely amazing, especially with the side skirts. I completely forgot that I put on the side skirts on the car because I did that like shortly before the car went away. But I'm so happy that this car is finally back. It needs a little polish because it's been sitting in the sun for quite some time. But apart from that, absolutely amazing. Bro, I'm so happy that I see this car again. I completely forgot that I have it. Imagine that. Because I haven't seen it in such a long time. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is that the suspension is still so shitty to drive. But we're gonna take it for a spin after the dyno, so we're gonna figure out if we still need a different suspension. But probably the answer is yes, because it didn't really change much over the time. So, my lovely Supra. Can't believe it. Seriously can't believe it. Let's see how this car sounds like, because I think I have a feeling that it's gonna be insane.
Ja, so geil.
It literally shifts like an M3 now, like an M80.
Das ist richtig geil.
So this is such a surreal moment, seeing this car drive and run again after such a long time of not being able to drive it and not even seeing it. It sounds so good already, and it shifts so fast. One of the best sounds ever created is a boosted 2JZ. The car has hard cuts now, which means while shifting, you get a huge flame out the back, like a sequential transmission basically. Maybe you guys are calling me crazy for doing like an automatic swap on my manual Supra, because the manual gearboxes are, you know, really sought after. But I truly believe that this is making the car how it's supposed to be. And the best part of it all, I told you already, you still have the virtual clutch, so you can still clutch kick the car, so you can theoretically still drift the car. Look how fast it comes. Alter, hinten ist so low. Das ist so laut. It makes me so happy to see this finally. After all of the troubles that we went through with this car, I was so sad about everything, and now the car is running again properly. Somebody with a shotgun. It literally sounds like shotgun shots out the back of the car. Ich bin so dumm, ich hab so einen Tinnitus gerade. Es ist so deppert. I've been through so much with this car already. You know, it's always, ever since owning it, this car has been causing major issues for everybody involved. It was always a pain in the ass. It would not really ever drive properly how it's supposed to be, and it was always, you know, shitty to drive. And I think today is finally the day that this is all changing and that we finally have a car that is working how it's supposed to be, and that makes me actually so incredibly happy, because the Supra was always one of my dream cars. I've always wanted to have one, and I mean I have one for like 3 years now, but it's just it wasn't a properly working car, and that kind of made me sad. It kind of made me lose interest in the car, maybe kind of, you know, fall in love with something else. But today, honestly, I'm so happy and so glad. I don't want to jinx it, you know, we're not home yet, but this is looking very promising. And honestly, shout out to MPS here in Dortmund in Germany for making this possible. I truly think that these guys are pretty much the only ones in Germany or Austria that are able to handle builds like this, you know, proper cars that are supposed to work. I mean, you see it on my R34. I've driven like 15,000 kilometers on the R34, and the R34 is still holding up. And I don't know anybody else in Europe that can do stuff like this. It's absolutely crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
Yes.
I never see the flames from the exhaust at the rear, only on the front from the wastegate.
Yeah.
And I adjusted the ignition cut to have good flames. I never thought that it's 2 meters long.
That's wirklich. Black Widow Supra is back. Yeah. It's like -2 degrees Celsius outside, and it's also raining, so I think we have ideal temperatures to test out my car now. Yeah, before we drive this car, I forgot my license plates at home. So life hack. Und dann haben wir schon Zulassungsstelle am Mobile.
Und was sagst du?
Das sieht auch gut aus.
Schlecht ist nicht. Ja. Vielen Dank für die Kennzeichen.
Time to drive the Supra for the first time in forever.
Ich weiß nicht genau.
Ich kann jetzt starten.
Einfach anstellen. Jetzt Bremse treten und auf die und dann runter.
Jetzt bist
Aber zweiter ist erster los.
Der fährt immer im zweiten los.
Okay. Ja, passt. Bis gleich.
Ja, tschüss. Scheiße, es ist ungewohnt.
Fuck, ist das komisch.
Das mag ich nicht, ne?
Kupplung unterkuppelt. Kupplung los.
Alter, das ist krass. Die Kupplung, wie ist das? Zum Drücken?
Wie eine normale Kupplung.
Alter.
Na so, vom Fahren her passt. Ruckeln tut es immer noch genau gleich. Also Fahrwerk braucht man nach wie vor.
Ja.
So if any suspension company sees this video, please send me new suspension for my Supra. Finally, I can leave both fans on my steering wheel, which is a very huge bonus if you're driving a very high horsepower car in slippery conditions. It needs a little bit of fine tuning, Philip also said.
Alter, das ist so gefährlich.
Ich hab so Angst vor
Ja,
Auto.
ja.
Ja, habe ich wieder ein Auto mehr, was mich umbringen will. Geil. Schiff kannst du aber geil.
Oh, voll. For me it's so funny because most of the people build their automatic Supras to manual
Yeah.
and
I
you
do the
did
reverse.
the opposite.
Kupplung funktioniert.
Ja.
Hey, schau da, Schiff. So, schauen wir nochmal. Ohne umbringen.
Ja. Alter!
Mir ist eigentlich überhaupt nicht nett.
Nein, mir auch gar nicht. Jetzt ist echt die Black Widow Supra. Alter, ohne Scheiß, das klingt so f***ing geil, Faust.
This car is insane.
Ja.
I was scared of the car like previously, but now I'm even more scared of it because this gearbox makes it so unbelievably fast you can't imagine. The shifts are so insane, they push you forward even more than the engine is doing,
Ja.
which I don't even know how that works, but it works. Philip, thank you for building this. Thank you for making my visions come true. I always wanted to try like an 8 HP build, and I think was a perfect opportunity to do so. And the cool thing is you can actually drive it pretty chill if you want to. You can just shift up into 6th gear and cruise down. Very nice to drive. I love it, really. I need to get used to it a little bit, and I want to see kind of how the car slides now, but I think we definitely, before we do anything else, we need some suspension upgrades because this is horrible. Still very horrible to drive, suspension wise at least.
Yeah.
Now we have the engine and everything figured out, it doesn't overheat anymore. Yeah, say hello to my new Supra. Oh, good to listen. Good to know that the turbo lag is still immense, so nothing has ever changed. Still have it. I'm at 4,500 and now 5,000 RPM the turbo kicks in.
Nice.
Perfect. But once it kicks in, you literally shit your pants, I tell you guys.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm a experienced driver, but even for me, this is... It's nice to see flames coming out the hood.
Yeah.
Only when they're like, it's not only nice to see if they come out the exhaust. If they come out anywhere else, it's probably a big problem. This will be pretty cool for some nightly autobahn runs, I think.
Oh yeah, baby.
As nice as this is, I don't want to drive this car too much right now in these conditions. So for first proper test drive, we will still have to wait. And also I think Philip wants to try out some different tunes and everything.
Yeah.
So still need some fine adjustments. So let's just load the car back up onto the trailer. And there's one thing we have left to do and then we go back home. Look at this, R34 and my Supra. One day, I promise you guys, I'm gonna drive them both at the same time.
Crazy, oder?
Ohne Scheiß, das ist absurd.
Ja, genauso sehe ich es nämlich auch. Also du kannst das gar nicht in Worte
Na,
fassen.
es geht aber so gut, aber Fahrwerk unbedingt. Also das Fahrwerk ist so scheiße.
Das ist das, was ich dir gesagt habe.
Ja.
Hast du gekuppelt?
Ein bisschen probiert haben wir,
Ja, ja.
aber nicht Klatsch gegen Hebel nicht.
Das ist geil.
Aber danke dir auf jeden Fall, gell?
Bitteschön.
Wirklich.
Sauber.
So
Bis
geil.
dahin. Tschüss.
So geil. Yeah, let's swap the cars. R34 off to MPS for some little goodies. We're gonna make the car beautiful again because yeah. been a very long time since these two cars have been together. And now it will be a very...
4 years ago?
3 years ago,
Or
yeah.
3 years, weren't they say?
Always one of those two cars has been at the workshop, and now it's gonna be the same because Supra is coming back home with us. R34 goes to the workshop, although I don't think it's gonna take that long, but still. Get no. Stop. Yeah.
Back in the days I was living swell, see. I was riding bikes, roller skating and playing skelsies. But nowadays